The Chable father came in his Maybach to claim me, but I hid in the pigsty and refused to leave. I need to earn money at the small hair salon. If I leave, who will support my family? My biological father cursed and sent my adoptive father to prison, yet I still refuse to go. I'm just a country bumpkin. The fake heiress will look down on me. My birth mother's eyes were red from crying. Don't worry, whatever you do, your sister will give way to you. The atmosphere was perfectly set. Let's go home. After rebirth, I, the true heiress, fought with bloodshot eyes. In the adobe courtyard, my adoptive parents and brother were pushing and shoving me, forcing me to leave with a heavily made-up woman. My adoptive father cursed and said, "She's not my biological daughter. She's been freeloading for 18 years. It's time she repays me." Just then, the sound of a car horn, beep beep beep, grew closer and closer to our house. A couple who appeared to be wealthy stepped out of a Maybach. They said I was their biological daughter and had come to take me home. Mr. and Mrs. Frank were dumbfounded, never expecting that this bargain of theirs could fetch an even higher price. "I'm not leaving." Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, I shouted decisively, pushing away my birth mother Lisa's hand. I swung the fertilizer bag turned luggage over my shoulder with a single motion. "I'm going to work at a small salon in the city. Don't stop me from earning money for the family. I've eaten the family's rice for over a decade. It's time I repaid my parents. Our family needs a large sum of money for my brother's marriage." I simply repeated verbatim what Frank and his wife had just said. Instantly, the crowd fell into an eerie silence. The biological mother fell silent for a few seconds, her chest heaving deeply, her brows tightly furrowed, her eyes gleaming with fury. In a low, menacing voice, she said, "You beasts, are you forcing my precious daughter into prostitution?" The biological father immediately rolled up the sleeves of his suit, grabbed Frank by the hair, and slammed his head against the dirt wall, leaving a bloody lump. The aunt from the hair salon took one look at the scene and fled, wailing like a banshee. Brother Mandy was quick as lightning, darting out the door in a flash. With just one call from my biological father, 2 or 3 police officers arrived at our house to take Frank and his wife away. In desperation, I knelt before my biological father, pleading, "Uncle, please don't take my dad away. He's not a bad person. Our family is just too poor, and we had no choice but to sell our daughter." My biological mother cried, holding me tightly, and said, "Look at how kind-hearted this child is." Am I kind? I was indeed kind in my past life, yet I met a tragic end. Now, I have just been reborn. My soul has just crawled out of the sewer where I died in my past life. Returning to the moment when my biological parents came to pick me up, as the horn of the Maybach sounded, in this life, I don't want to be kind, I just want to give tit for tat. In his previous life, Frank refused to admit to the crime of soliciting prostitution. Back then, I was foolish and couldn't produce solid evidence. I watched helplessly as the case was left unresolved. This led to Frank later conspiring with others to murder me. In this life, I don't want to let a worthless man off easy, but I still have no evidence. Could it be that even after being reborn, I still have to wait for Frank to be released and come to silence me? I can only kneel on the ground, watching helplessly as the axe is raised high and falls again and again, chopping me into a female corpse lying in the sewer. I sent her to the salon to learn how to cut hair. Is that illegal? Who said I made her sell her body? Frank stood with his arms akimbo, shouting defiantly, showing no fear of the police questioning. I crouched on the ground, looking up at Frank, who acted as if he was a dead pig unafraid of boiling water. Watching him lie is much easier than watching him swing an axe. His biological mother, furious and hoarse from shouting, swung her bag at him. His biological father stopped her, scolding angrily. "What's the use of hitting him? The police need evidence." His mother frowned tightly. "I heard him talk about selling our daughter." "I'm the witness." Frank lit a cigarette, took a deep drag, and slowly pointed at the wound on his head. "Nonsense, framing an innocent man. I'm just a simple, honest farmer. Raising a daughter wasn't easy. You just want to take Luna away without paying a cent. Let me tell you straight, don't think you can take her without giving me a single penny. Officer, you've got to stand up for me. Don't let poor folks like me get bullied." What a vicious slander. Isn't this just pure nonsense? You can do it, and so can I. Under the stunned gazes of my biological parents, I fell to my knees with a thud, weeping bitterly before the police. My dad was right. Raising me wasn't easy for him at all. The money he earned was literally bought with his life. Just look at the back mountain wall. All those animals hanging there were hunted by him in the mountains. Wild boars, hares, How many trips into those mountains did he have to make? You can't bully an honest man like this. Still crying. I pointed toward the back mountain wall. The location was pinpointed accurately. If you didn't look carefully, you'd never find the hidden wildlife spot in the overgrown weeds. The police officer, weary from disputes, suddenly perked up upon hearing this. Let's go, check out the back wall. Rows of wildlife carcasses hung on the wall, most already dried out. This has really blown up. Caught red-handed for the crime of trafficking wild animals. Article 341 of the criminal law stipulates that illegally hunting or killing precious and endangered wildlife under national protection shall be punished with imprisonment of up to 5 years or criminal detention, along with a fine. In serious cases, the punishment is imprisonment of 5 to 10 years with a fine. In particularly severe cases, the penalty is imprisonment of over 10 years, along with a fine or confiscation of property, over 20 birds, more than 10 badgers, 7 or 8 weasels. I wonder if this is enough to put my adoptive father behind bars for 3 to 5 years. Even a 10-year prison sentence would still be too lenient for him. After all, compared to the pain of him stabbing me in my past life, 10 years in prison is still too light. But in this life, I don't want to be entangled with him anymore. I need to save my strength to catch another person I loathe with every fiber of my being, the one who giggled while recording a video as I crawled, begging for mercy after being slashed. From now on, you'll take the surname James. Your name is Luna James, a daughter of the James family. My biological mother, her hand adorned with a sapphire, carefully held mine. She led me to sit in the back seat of the Maybach, yet maintained a considerable distance. I don't know if she was afraid of hurting me or dirtying her own hands. In my past life, I never figured this out until the day I died. In this life, I must get to the bottom of this matter no matter what. As soon as my biological mother pulled me into the Maybach and closed the door, I pushed it open, forcefully broke free from her grip, jumped out of the car, and plunged headfirst into the pigpen. What's the point of going with you? I've lived in this pigpen for years and gotten used to it. I can't sleep anywhere else. My biological mother looked at the pigpen enclosed by a fence, where a row of wooden frames stood on the muddy ground mixed with dirt and pig manure. This is where I sleep, I said, pointing to the pile of quilts and bedding on the frames. She stared in shock as I climbed onto the frame with practiced ease, pulled out a quilt, and crawled inside. My birth mother covered her mouth, sobbing audibly. My birth father stepped into the pigpen, disregarding how his LV suit was getting stained with mud, and frantically carried me to the car. Kathy isn't my biological daughter, yet she's lived in luxury. How could I let my own flesh and blood, my Nathan's real daughter, live in a pigpen? Hearing the name Kathy sent a shiver through me. She was the pampered fake heiress. In my past life, when I was being hacked to death, the one giggling was her. She said in a low voice, "Go to hell, country bumpkin," recalling her voice. I instinctively felt fear and shivered. There's still an older sister at home. Then I'm even less going back. I reek of pig manure and am just a country bumpkin. My sister would definitely look down on me. Let go of me. I want to stay in the pigpen. I struggled desperately, kicking my father hard with both feet. But how hard can a chronically malnourished girl really kick? My father's strong arms shoved me into the car and slammed the door shut. My mother wrapped her arms around me and refused to let go. As if in repentance, she whispered in my ear, "Luna, you've suffered so much. No one will ever make you suffer again." My mother's face pressed tightly against mine, her chest firmly against my back. Only at this moment did I truly believe she didn't find me dirty. I stopped struggling. I desperately wanted to hold on tight. "I stink. I'll dirty your clothes." Hearing this, my birth mother tightened her grip even more. My nose tingled with emotion, and without thinking, I called out, "Mom." In my past life, Kathy covered her nose and scolded me for smelling like pig manure. Without a word, my mom dragged me to the bathroom to scrub me clean. I turned on the hottest water and scrubbed hard until I bled, but still couldn't wash away the pig shit smell. She mentioned, if only someone could have hugged Luna back then, how much better would it have been? As the car entered the villa area and just parked in the private courtyard, the fake heiress Kathy came out to greet us, accompanied by 2 nannies. I remember her words from my past life, with tears streaming down her face like pear blossoms. She said, "Sister, I'm sorry. I took your place and made you suffer in the mountains for so long. I will love you dearly along with Mom and Dad." My biological parents praised her for being sensible. Little did I know that before a demon commits evil, it wears a cloak of kindness. She smiled as she led me into the villa for the first time, and she smiled as she watched me die. This lifetime, it's my turn to smile. I jumped out of the car first, jogged all the way, and when I saw Kathy in her Lolita dress, I hugged her tightly, rubbing my head against her. The lice in my hair and the pig dung smeared on my clothes were all brought from the countryside, gifts for Kathy. My dirty hands were groping all over her hair and clothes. Are you Kathy? How come you're so pretty, and you have such beautiful clothes? You're like a fairy from heaven, not like me. I just crawled out of a pig pen. At first, Kathy pretended to play along, but when I mentioned the pig pen, she finally realized the smell on me was actually pig manure. She couldn't hold it in and vomited on the spot. Same here. How could someone who's lived in a pigsty for years not smell like pig shit? But this smell should have been Kathy's all along. I've been carrying it for her for 18 years. How dare she have the nerve to mock me for smelling bad now? I burst into tears with a loud wail and buried my face in my biological mother's LV suit, overwhelmed with grievance. Mom, look, my sister just looks down on me. You might as well let me go back to sleeping in the pig pen. My biological parents' faces turned cold as they stared sternly at Kathy. Here comes the good part. Kathy twitched her mouth and actually forced the vomit back down her throat. Kathy's effort moved me deeply, and I almost managed to hold back my laughter. I buried my entire face in my mother's embrace to hide my smile. In my past life, I treaded carefully every step of the way, not daring to reach out to the noble woman before me, my own mother, until the day I died. We remained strangers to each other. Now, my mother holds me close as if I were a newborn baby. And even the filth brings her the joy of new life. I feel a slight stir in my heart. I think this must be what it feels like to be loved. I cried and made a scene, acting like a genuine child, and my biological mother actually liked me more for it. Seeing Kathy's look of disgust, my biological mother's expression darkened. Kathy, Luna has suffered so much in the countryside all these years. It's normal for her to have a smell just after coming back. Your behavior is very ill-mannered. Kathy explained, Mom, I just have a bit of an upset stomach. How could I possibly dislike my sister? She's the true heiress of the family. I'm already so grateful that you and Dad are letting me continue to live this good life with you. He came up to support me. I held Kathy's slender, smooth hand and said, What real heiress, fake heiress? You've been with Mom and Dad for over a decade, bringing them so much joy. I should be thanking you. From now on, let's get along as a family. My biological parents were somewhat surprised to see me so composed and gracious. I could sense they were very pleased with my demeanor. I will treat you well. Kathy came over to take my hand, just like in our past life, and skipped into the villa. I was happy, genuinely happy. I thought to myself, Kathy, I'm here. I'll treat you just the way you treated me. Sister, if you don't mind, could you help me take a bath later? I haven't bathed in years. I don't want to dirty such a clean house. I stared at the villa's wool carpet, refusing to step inside. Kathy was taken aback but quickly composed herself, flashing a noble smile and nodding eagerly like pounding garlic. Only after closing the bathroom door did Kathy finally reveal her disgusted, nauseated expression. Indeed, the smell in the bathroom was quite unpleasant. It's been 2 or maybe 3 years since I last bathed. I can't quite remember. The thick layer of dirt washed away, like shedding a gray-black garment. Kathy pinched her nose and whispered in my ear, Pig dung girl, you think you deserve me bathing you? One day, you'll die by my hand. Now that's Kathy's true voice. Silent, she's like a flower. The moment she speaks, utter filth comes pouring out. I blew soap bubbles defiantly at Kathy. Kathy hissed through clenched teeth, just wait till you're out of Mom and Dad's sight. See how I'll mess you up. No sooner had she spoken, Mom, save me, I screamed loudly. Kathy was stunned to see me react so quickly and shout without changing my expression. In my past life, I was timid and weak, easily frightened by her face-changing tricks. Now, I didn't hesitate for a moment to fight back. What does Kathy mean by not being under Mom and Dad's watchful eyes? Does she want to send me away? Mom, save me. My biological mother rushed over anxiously, her face exhausted. She had been dealing with me all day. Her elegant makeup completely gone, exhausted or not. It didn't matter. In my past life, I was too soft-hearted towards you, enduring everything myself. This lifetime, I just want my birth mother to truly understand what kind of person her accomplished adopted daughter, proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, really is. The birth mother pushes open the bathroom door. Kathy instantly transforms into an innocent little rabbit, kneeling beside the bathtub to scrub me. Mom asked, Luna. What's wrong? Don't scare me. Before I could answer, Kathy quickly said, maybe I used too much force while scrubbing and hurt my sister. I'll be more careful. Is that so, Luna? I rolled my eyes, thinking to myself how quickly this little girl changed her attitude. I can't lose either. I grinned and said, just be careful, sis, don't hurt me, keep scrubbing, make sure to scrub thoroughly. Kathy carefully scrubbed me clean. Only then did my biological mother feel reassured. This harmonious sisterly scene must be exactly what she wanted. Kathy knelt on the ground, scrubbing with great effort. I comfortably enjoyed the scrubbing, my mind brewing the grand drama for the evening. Sure enough, as soon as night fell, the show began. Kathy stood barefoot on the floor, clutching her bunny pillow, and said pitifully, the big bedroom should rightfully be yours, sister. I'll just sleep in the guest room. At a glance, she had only brought out the pillow, while her personal belongings still filled the bedroom. Was this her way of offering to give up the bedroom? In my past life, I naively believed she genuinely intended to return my things to me. As soon as I entered the bedroom, the nanny scolded me, don't mess up Miss Kathy's things. I spent a lot of effort organizing them neatly. See, when a person is weak, even a nanny dares to bully them. I carefully walked around but still couldn't find a place to sit. Later, Kathy even complained, saying her gemstone necklace was missing. I hurried to explain that I hadn't touched anything. My mother's face remained expressionless, but her hands still pulled the necklace out of my tattered clothes. I also wondered, how did the necklace end up in the clothes I had thrown away? My mother didn't scold me, but the suspicion in her eyes was impossible to hide. Once a seed of suspicion is sown, other unpleasant thoughts gradually take root. In this life, I shall fight magic with magic. When Kathy pretended to offer the bedroom, I timidly held my biological mother's hand and said, Mom, I've never seen such a big bed or such a large room before. I'll be too excited to sleep at night. Will you sleep with me, please? After I freshened up, my clean and neat appearance made her feel even more affectionate toward me, and so, I held my dear mother and slept sweetly through the night. Kathy had no choice but to obediently sleep in the guest room. Before 7 in the morning, Kathy started causing trouble, knocking on the door and saying she needed to find her clothes. I knew it was time to play out the scene of the missing gemstone necklace. I opened the door a crack and whispered, Mom is still sleeping, don't wake her up. Your things have already been sent to the storage room by the housekeeper. She handled everything. If there's an issue, take it up with her. Kathy stared blankly as I slowly closed the door. By the time I got up after 10, Kathy was still throwing a tantrum in the guest room, cursing the housekeeper for being clumsy. Venting at the housekeeper was the only outlet she had left. I know Kathy won't let it go. She's just waiting for an opportunity. The second week after returning home, the opportunity she was waiting for arrived. My biological father flexed his financial muscles, insisting I be transferred to the same private high school where Kathy was enrolled. Before breakfast, Kathy and I stood side by side in identical uniforms, looking equally privileged. She said innocently, that's great, we sisters can go to school together. But when I just got up in the morning, I clearly heard her say, come to my territory, let's see how many days you can survive. I pushed Kathy's hand away. Dad, I don't want to go to school. My biological father looked at the newspaper and said calmly but firmly, at your age, you should be reading some books. I don't expect you to excel in your studies, but as Nathan's daughter, you can't be illiterate, can you? His tone was intimidating. Kathy chimed in, that's right, Dad has high standards, piano, ballet, equestrian, figure skating, swimming. I've been learning all these since childhood. Big sister, you need to catch up too. Kathy smiled, her eyes curving into crescents. What a way to fan the flames. I knew Kathy was trying to pull me into her territory. I said earnestly, Dad, it's not that I don't want to go to school or study, I just don't want to attend my sister's high school. I don't play the piano, I don't do ballet, and I don't have time to learn these things, nor do I want to fit into their circle. Every word I spoke was sharp and well-reasoned. My biological father put down the newspaper and stared at me for more than 10 seconds. If you don't go to school, how will you learn? I said word by word. I've seen advertisements online. The tutors at cram schools are very skilled. We can hire a tutor to come to our home and give me one-on-one lessons. As soon as the words, one-on-one, left my mouth, my father stared straight at me. His eyes were full of doubt, as if questioning, you, a girl from the mountains, know about cram schools, and even one-on-one tutoring, huh? Kathy's mocking laugh shattered the silence. She said, you really dare to dream. Do you know how expensive one-on-one lessons with new Oriental teachers are? Just 1 hour costs nearly 1,000 yuan. 6 hours a day would be over 6,000. I lost patience before she could finish and interrupted Kathy. No matter how expensive it is, it's my parents' money I'm spending. What's it to you? Sharp-tongued and eager to retaliate. I momentarily crossed the line with my words. I regretted being too impatient. I should have pretended to be a little white rabbit. That kind of persona would have earned my father's sympathy. Why was I so competitive just now? To my surprise, my father stood up, walked over, and scrutinized me closely, frowning deeply before raising his arm. His hands gripped my shoulders tightly as he solemnly declared, "You really are Nathan's child, clear-headed and goal-oriented. I've signed you up for one-on-one tutoring." As soon as he finished speaking, both Kathy and I were stunned. I never expected my billionaire father to be so broad-minded. Before I could even list my reasons for not wanting to attend high school, he agreed directly. Turns out being straightforward feels so satisfying. Overjoyed, I ran forward and threw my entire body at my father. My sturdy father staggered when I threw myself at him, yet his face beamed with joy. Seek revenge against the wicked and repay those who help me. Both reactions must be swift. Every minute of my reborn life is precious. I was coaxing my biological father while getting a clear view of Kathy's disappointed face. She was stomping her feet in anger, not daring to make a sound. Of course she was furious. She had long been prepared to bully me in the high school girls' restroom, force me to take off my clothes, and take nude photos. In this life, I skipped high school altogether. Time is precious. So I go straight to the point. The one-on-one tutoring class with a famous new Oriental teacher that my dad signed me up for, costing 700 yuan per hour, wasn't just worth the money, it was an absolute blast. In just 3 months, my academic level jumped from that of a middle school sophomore to a high school freshman. I worked my hardest, dedicating every moment outside of eating, drinking, and sleeping to studying. Jack, a math student at Tsinghua University, confidently stated, "Luna is very smart. At her current learning pace, she will have no problem taking the college entrance exam with Kathy a year from now." I don't know if Jack was exaggerating, but being praised like that for the first time did give me a small sense of pride. When my parents heard about my progress, their hands trembled, and they immediately paid for a full year of one-on-one tutoring with top new Oriental teachers for all subjects. The original price was very expensive. After the discount, it was over 2 million. My biological father swiped his card without batting an eye. He also arranged a new study and bedroom for me, with the entire wall painted in Barbie pink. There's a hint of spoiling the daughter here. Money keeps flowing out, and my biological parents are paying more attention to me. You see, to make someone love you more, you have to make them invest more time and money. Neither can be missing. I study in the villa every day, and when I take a break, I wander around in front of my biological parents. We have 3 meals together every day, and our bond grows stronger with each passing day. Kathy, as usual, spends most of her time at school, and after school, she still attends parties and goes shopping. Not a single social activity of a wealthy heiress can be missed. By the time she came home after a long day, I was already soaking my feet while leaning on my biological father's shoulder, enthusiastically discussing the latest news highlights with him. Kathy called out, "Dad, Weiss." Nathan gave her a cold glance before continuing the conversation with me. The middle-aged man had plenty of opinions to share with me on political hot topics, his area of expertise. How could he spare time to pay attention to a little girl's idle responses? Unable to join the conversation, Kathy went upstairs by herself. By the time she had dinner at home again, 3 months had already passed. The dishes on the table were already prepared to my taste. My mom served me food and chatted with me about daily life. "Jack said your English is still holding you back. How about sending you to a summer camp in the U.S. to get familiar with the English environment?" I shook my head. "No need, Mom, I'm just aiming for exams. No need to go abroad specifically. I can already recite up to the 10th lesson of the 3rd volume of New Concept English." My dad chimed in. "Is reciting New Concept English really effective? Isn't that a method from over a decade ago?" The 3 of us went back and forth, each adding our own thoughts. Kathy, who was listening nearby, had already lost her appetite. Her expression grew increasingly unpleasant, and she finally couldn't hold back, slamming her chopsticks down. The 3 of us looked at Kathy with confused expressions. Kathy quickly turned her displeasure into happiness. She had excellent eloquence and easily convinced her own parents to introduce a top high school English student to tutor me. Although Luna has one-on-one classes at New Oriental, she should also know the key points highlighted by her school teacher. What if there's something missed on either side? The next day, Jiang Yaoyao brought the top student George to me. At the sight of the person she brought, I almost burst out laughing. Can this guy really tutor me? This is the school bully who took nude photos of me. His English grades are probably the worst in the entire school. Suppressing my perverted smile, I said seriously, George, let's make the most of our time. How about we go to my study for some tutoring? As soon as the words were spoken, George instinctively glanced at Jiang Yaoyao. Neither of them expected it would be this easy to get me alone. After all, in my previous life, he lured me to a secluded corner of the school, flirted with me, and gradually gained my trust, only to trick me into drinking the sleeping pills he brought. While I was dazed, he stripped off all my clothes and secretly took nude photos of me. As I walked up the stairs, I caught him exchanging a triumphant glance with Kathy out of the corner of my eye. I pretended not to see it. As expected, a school bully would never actually tutor anyone. Taking out the English textbook, George immediately started complimenting me. Luna is so beautiful. The kind of girl who makes your heart skip a beat at first sight. I suppressed the urge to vomit, pretending to be flattered, while flipping the pages with one hand to ensure the recorder captured everything clearly. Seeing how naive I appeared, George thought I was an easy target. By the third meeting, he couldn't resist making his move. Let's go outside to study. I like you so much. I just want to be with you in a different place. Don't tell your parents, we're both adults now. Our feelings are our own to decide, right? I half-heartedly asked. George, are you trying to find a chance to go on a date with me? He probably thought he was being clever. He left the hotel room number. As soon as he left, I called my foster mother. The tone on the other end of the phone was agitated. Frank was sent to prison because of you, you ungrateful wretch. You'll die a horrible death too. Suppressing my anger, I took a deep breath and turned the situation around with just one sentence. Mom, I have money now. I won't abandon you and my brother. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. I heard the clang-clang sound of a struggle over the phone. Stop scolding her. Do you still want the money or not? Don't forget, she's now the daughter of a wealthy family. A single hair of hers is thicker than our legs. The speaker was Mandy, Frank's biological son, someone who had made a habit of hitting me. Ignoring his adoptive mother's nagging, Mandy said, Don't believe this bitch. She's the one who got your dad locked up. Mandy took the phone with a playful grin. Luna, don't listen to Mom's nonsense. You only told the police about the mountain goods to save Dad back then. It was never to harm him. I saw it with my own eyes. Besides, we lived in the same courtyard for over a decade. I know exactly who you are. You washed my feet every day, and even though Mom and Dad beat you constantly, you never complained. Still cooking 3 meals a day. You're the kindest person in the world. In this life, I've somehow become the good one. Frank's parenting was truly something, always abusing me just to spoil his precious son. In the end, I ended up raising a thankless wretch who only cares about money. Mandy tentatively asked, Luna, how much can you actually give me? The corner of my mouth curled up. People who only care about money are easier to deal with. Mandy hung up the phone and rushed from the mountains to the city overnight on a tractor to see me. Are you giving me money to spend? Mandy asked incredulously, still unable to believe that the woman their family had abused for over a decade would even look at him directly. I pulled out a stack of cash from my backpack. Bundles of bills, neatly tied together, were placed on the cafe table, a total of 100,000. This was all the pocket money I'd received over 3 months, plus the cash from pawning a watch my birth mother had given me. Brother, you and Mom should spend this first, buy a car first, and when you have more money, get an apartment to marry a wife. Only then did Mandy believe that the crisp white money was real. She stared at me eagerly. Even if I asked her to bark like a dog now, she wouldn't hesitate. Luna, you're really living the good life now. That old man Frank just didn't have the luck. He had to mess with those mountain goods, and that's what got him into trouble. You had no idea these things were illegal. I nodded repeatedly, expressing my gratitude to him profusely and thanking my foster mother for raising me. My words even melted Mandy's stony heart. Between the lines, I implied that I would repay their kindness and send them more money in the future. Then, I abruptly changed the subject, putting on a troubled expression. Mandy indignantly asked me, now that you're so wealthy, who dares to bully you? Whoever messes with you is messing with me. I'll go beat them to death. With tears in my eyes, I looked at him and said, "Brother, you can't beat him." Mandy raised her fist and asked, "Who says I can't beat him?" She kept pressing me about who had bullied me and where they were. Only then did I take out the hotel address I had written down and hand it to him. Mandy got up and left. I returned to the villa and leisurely had dinner with my biological parents. About 10 minutes later, I received a call from the police asking me to come to the station to assist with the investigation. My parents immediately became tense, stopped eating, and insisted on accompanying me. Let's go watch the show together." Turns out George was beaten by his foster mother, and someone called the police. His phone recorded the entire beating incident. The chain of evidence is complete. The police are going to arrest Mandy for intentional assault and send her to jail. Mandy panicked and called her adoptive mother, who then called me, saying I was the witness. I wasn't hitting a good person. That bastard was trying to take nude photos of my sister. I was teaching him a lesson. My daughter has the chat evidence. I was summoned as a witness. Kathy was also summoned. This is awkward. It was Kathy who called the police. And the evidence video was recorded by her through WeChat video. She never expected that while trying to take nude photos of me, a sudden interference from Jiang not only ruined her plan but also nearly beat George to death. Not wanting to face a murder charge, she exposed herself. Surrounded by my biological parents, I entered the police station. Kathy pushed away her adoptive mother's outstretched hand, stood up in shock, and asked in disbelief, "Mom, Dad, why are you here?" "Kathy, you've been attending eloquence training classes since childhood. So your speaking skills must be excellent. I'll leave you the opportunity to explain slowly." I hid my schadenfreude smile when I saw George standing next to Kathy. His face was bruised and swollen, barely recognizable as human. I couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. How vicious was Mandy? Even a chronically malnourished girl like me had to stay in bed for a week before I could get up and eat on my own. George, a grown man, couldn't even take a beating that well. Pathetic, George. His face swollen, cried pitifully, "I've grown up this big and never had a finger laid on me." Kathy, already impatient from George's crying, wanted to leave but was held tightly by him. "Stop crying, the police uncle will protect you." So even beasts need legal protection. The police asked me if I knew about Mandy hitting someone and then showed me video evidence of Mandy's assault. In the video, after George opened the door, Mandy lunged forward to grab someone. And she didn't stop until Kathy called the police and they arrived. The beating lasted nearly 15 minutes. I watched calmly as Mandy hit someone, while my mother covered my eyes, saying, "Luna, don't look, it's too brutal, it might scare you." How could I be scared? Mandy used to beat me like this before. Sometimes she'd even call Frank, and the father and son would team up. This is the first time I've seen Mandy hit someone, and for once, the person being hit wasn't me. I couldn't help but curl the corners of my mouth, feeling a perverse thrill rise within me. My pampered mother, accustomed to flattery between people, would never imagine someone could be so vicious. In the end, it was she who couldn't bear it and turned off the video. George, his face swollen, pointed at Mandy and snarled viciously, "The evidence of your assault is crystal clear. This could mean jail time. Intentional harm charges could land you 8 to 10 years. The adoptive mother and Mandy exchanged glances, their faces filled with disbelief. The adoptive mother adopted a defiant tone. "Scare tactics. My son only hit him this once, and now he's facing 8 to 10 years in prison." The implication behind her words was something only I could understand. Yet, for over a decade, she and the adoptive father had beaten me like this at regular intervals. I never thought this was illegal. Why am I being sentenced today? It must be the rich people trying to scare us. George, sobbing with a swollen face, grabbed Kathy's wrist. "Kathy, get me a lawyer. I want to sue him. I want him dead." My acting skills soared as I buried myself in my biological mother's arms, looking utterly aggrieved. "I don't want my foster mother to die. I don't want my brother to die." "Don't be afraid, child, tell the police. What exactly happened?" I kept crying and shaking my head, saying, "I don't dare to speak." Mandy jumped up in frustration. "Just say it. Is it that man who wants to sleep with you? He even tried to strip you naked and take photos, didn't he? I was standing up for you." At these words, Kathy's face turned deathly pale. My sobs grew louder. My mother cursed George fiercely. "You beast." My father asked me with extreme restraint, "Child, tell me. Did George invite you to the hotel room?" I nodded tearfully. He carefully reviewed the footage the police provided, which was positioned directly facing the bed. The more crucial detail was that the avatar of the person George was video chatting with matched Kathy's nickname. Although she turned off the camera, her nickname was still visible. Additionally, the police demanded that I hand over my phone recordings and WeChat chat history, which clearly showed the hotel location and time sent to me by George. He already knew who was behind all the secret filming. At the police station, my biological father watched everything coldly. Kathy blushed, her usual arrogance gone, her eyes anxiously darting away. George wailed like a hungry baby, crying out in pain. My biological father's gaze fell on me. Luna, why did you call your foster mother for such a big matter instead of calling me? Suddenly, I remembered a phrase he often used in my past life when I sought his help. Nathan, I'm a prominent figure in this entire city, don't bother me with trivial matters, okay? I let out a long sigh and lowered my head. I suppose he blames me for bringing him trouble. I waited for his reprimand. Nathan leaned down, staring into my eyes fiercely like a tiger. Next time someone dares to ask you out to a hotel and tries to harm you behind your back, you must tell me immediately. Whoever messes with you, I'll take their life. I, Nathan, am a well-known figure throughout the entire city. Okay, truly worthy of being the richest man. In a word, George stopped crying, and Kathy stopped making a fuss. Mandy and her child were saved. Looking at my biological father who stood up for me, I felt exceptionally relieved. I hugged my biological father tightly and wouldn't let go. A warmth filled my heart as I asked myself, is this what it feels like to be cherished? My adoptive mother and Mandy swaggered out of the police station, waving goodbye to me with an air of triumph. Carrying a bag full of money, these brainless, brute thugs are useful to keep around. Held tightly by my birth parents, I boarded the family van heading home. Kathy pushed George's hand away impatiently and followed him onto the car with quick, small steps. Back at the villa, the real drama was just beginning. As soon as Kathy stepped inside and barely steadied herself, her father slapped her across the face. The slap Nathan delivered to Kathy's face was like the flutter of a butterfly's wings, slowly creating a rift between them. To be precise, the mother gradually opened her eyes and discovered that Kathy was bullying girls at school and had inappropriate relationships with more than one boy in her class. Only then did Nathan and his wife realize what kind of monster they had raised after spoiling her for 18 years, though reluctant. They had no choice but to accept it. In the following 2 years, I successfully took the college entrance exam. Following the advice of New Oriental's Jack, I could have aimed for Peking University, but I didn't. Instead, I only applied to an ordinary university in this second-tier city by the river. After being reborn, I only feel the preciousness of time in life. In my eyes, having 3 meals a day with my loving parents is the most important thing in the world. As for Kathy, she faded from my sight long ago and moved out of the villa. The allowance from her biological father gradually decreased, and her original circle of friends abandoned her. Losing these empty titles would be more painful than killing her. It's said that Mandy and her son often come to see Kathy. After all, I promised to take care of them. Now that they can't find this fake sister of mine, they can only settle scores with the real one. Who knows which of them would strike harder in their entanglement. After graduating from college, Nathan signed over the majority of the company's shares to me with a stroke of his pen. When I saw the company's valuation, I was shocked. I wonder if in my past life, it was because of this wealth that Kathy tried to kill me. In any case, in this reincarnated life, I want to live with dignity. After all, my biological father Nathan is quite a prominent figure in B City. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing